All right, YouTube. So today's video, we're talking about the brand new launch from Sony, the Sony A7V. We are at the 5th version of this camera. Wow, come a long way. I still remember when the first original one came by. They were saying, bring your own lenses. We got none. And bring your Canon, Nikon lenses, and then, use our body. And that's where we started. And then everyone went and bought their Leicas and Leica lenses and started to adapt it to the Sonys. And they had some surprises there and didn't go too well. But then the future versions, they did well. They came out with the Sony A7 II, which was, okay, it was good. A7 III, kind of getting close, getting good. A7 IV got pretty good. And now we're with the A7V, where we are. This is my opinion. You believe what you want to believe. They're playing catch up. So let's talk about it in this video. Should you buy one? And if it's the right one for you, could be, might not be, right? So depending on what you got already and what you're trying to do, might be two different things. And then I will leave you with a bonus at the end of this video. So make sure you watch it till the end, because that video is actually going to give you a bonus whether you should buy one of these, which is a R6 Mark III right here, the Canon R6 Mark III, or should you buy another Sony camera that is actually probably one of the much better buys right now as we sit at the time I'm making this video. So with that, let's get right into this video. A7V, incredible offering, right? $28.99, maybe not, right? Let's talk about it. So Sony comes up with a new sensor, obviously the A7 IV, great sensor, incredible dynamic range, blah, 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 incredible image quality. Yeah, I get it. I haven't seen a bad image quality sensor in the last 5 to 10 years. So sounds like marketing talk, right? Obviously not true, because not all sensors are equal. The A7 IV, actually, the sensor is outstanding. If you're looking at it more from a photo first perspective, the A7 IV is an incredible camera for the money, right? For what you're getting, a lot of resolution. But when you start to pair in things like rolling shutter, slow sensor readout, all of this stuff, because we all want to shoot our cameras in the electronic shutter mode. For some reason, we really feel like electronic shutter mode, my camera will never, see any abuse, and it will probably last me for the rest of my life. Honestly, if I'm buying a $28.99 camera, $2,899 camera, and at the age where I am, if I'm looking at that to be my last camera for the next 30 years, then the problem is with me, right? Now, if you are buying something like that where you have very limited means, and $28.99 is probably really the upper echelon of where you are, what you want to buy, what you want to do, watch this video to the end and see if your $28.99 can really go a little bit further if you truly just make the right choices. And so let's talk through exactly who this is for. So obviously Sony had incredible pressure, right, from these guys, and obviously these guys, the flagship cameras. This is the A9 II, which they never updated. They never fixed the autofocus, but they keep fixing these, $600 walking around on the stick cameras, but they never fixed their flagships. That's one thing I want you to be aware about Sony. So if you're buying into their system, you better be ready for that. They'll update it to a certain point. After that, they'll drop the ball. And then the only way to really fix that is go buy a new camera. I'm not going to, because the A9 II was truly an incredible machine. And it screwed up, but I know how to get around it. I know how to work around it. I just live with it. All of my Zeiss baddest lenses work badass on it. So, this is the 40 CF. Yeah, pretty cool lens. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. So the A9 II and the A1, they were high-speed demons, right, on the Sony system. So all these brands have been doing, hey, 30 frames per second, 20 frames per second. They've been doing that for the last 5-6 years. Sony's been sleeping. They really don't have that in an affordable range, right? So the A7 IV couldn't even touch it, right? The R6 Mark 2 destroyed it. Everything from Nikon destroyed it when it came to speed, right? And I'm not saying everyone needs 20 or 30 frames per second. But one thing that Sony did really good with the A7V is they left the mechanical shutter in there at 10 frames per second. I think that's a smart move. Nikon, if you're paying attention, Nikon. Having the mechanical shutter gets rid of all of this noise that we have today about rolling shutter, this shutter, that shutter, all this nonsense, right? You can do whatever you want with these sensors. Partially stacked, stacked, they all have an issue. I mean, this is a fully stacked sensor, and it still has rolling shutter at some point, right? So the only real solution to this is what this camera has, global shutter. What the Sony A7 III has, global shutter. So are stack sensors really the answer? They're a good compromise, right? But when you shoot with a mechanical shutter, it's not a problem. But if you don't have a mechanical shutter, you're kind of relying on that sensor to do its thing. So that's a good thing. So from a photography perspective, if I got an A7V, I would be shooting it with the mechanical shutter, not the electronic as much, right? And you're probably saying, well, why? It's partially stacked and blah, blah, blah. Well, there is one thing that we need to really talk about. Like I said, stack sensors are not always the answer. However, I don't know how Canon's done it over here, because this sucker shoots at around 13 milliseconds sensor readout, and the new Sony A7V being partially stacked is like 12 something. Really? Okay, fine. No penalty for being a stack sensor, so image quality is outstanding, no issues, and you'll get a video on the R6 Mark III dedicated, and you'll get to see the photos at ISO 12,800. You can knock yourself out just to prove a point so you can see it, right? It's not bad. Is it an R5 Mark II? No, but it's not bad, right? And again, it's $1,000 less than the R5 Mark II. So why the A7R V? Why the A7R whatever, 4? Why the A7R III? Why the A7V, which is a new one? What does all of this really mean? So let's talk about it. If you're a photo first type of enthusiast and really care about photo, and you are doing some video, obviously Sony really, hate to use the word, but they use this, maybe we should start saying the Sony cripple hammer, because it's in there. There is no raw recording in the A7V for video folks. That everyone that wants to be a Spielberg, pay attention now. Not even when you connect a external recorder, you can't shoot raw, because there's nothing coming out of it that's raw. It's also restricted as to what can go out of the HDMI on this camera. The other thing that they really did here is when you put this camera into 4K 60, no problem if you're recording internal. When you go to 4K 120, now it's cropped. It's no longer full frame. Some people will, oh, that's great. Well, that's great, but it goes into APS-C mode. Oh, sorry, Super 35. It's cropped. That's what it is. Just Sony talk for you. So when you go into crop mode, the dynamic range obviously goes down quite a bit. You ain't anywhere near 15 to 16 stops anymore. So you're shooting 4K 120 at that. Obviously, the shutter speed is going to be high. Dynamic range much lower. It's a perfect recipe, right, of what is it that you really want. If you shoot a lot of 4K 120, yeah, you can use it. You can do what you need to do. I would look at some other cameras, right? Sony has plenty that do a nicer job with that. The other thing is, if you're using an external recorder and you need to record raw video, this is not the camera for you, because this camera ain't going to do it. So, would I buy one? After looking at the R6 Mark III and what it offers and what it does, and it's $100 less than the Sony A7V. This is my opinion solely, so please don't take this to heart. If you feel that it's the best camera for you, you should buy it. I think Sony missed the boat, really did. Right? If you're marketing this as a hybrid camera, which you are, it's not a photo first, it's a hybrid camera, based on the marketing that was put out there. There's a lot of things that Sony missed pretty badly here. There's absolutely no open gate in here. A lot of people feel it's overrated. If you don't understand open gate, it's definitely going to be it's definitely going to be overrated. I think it's great that the cameras are actually offering you that sub $3,000. This one does. The R6 Mark III does. So does the Nikon Z6 III, I think. And then the new one they just had, the ZR, whatever, that does it too. In the video world, open gate's going to become more and more prevalent because, you know, Panasonic has it, other brands have it as well. And it's a huge time saver, especially when you can shoot something open gate and get multiple things out of it and whatnot. Can they really do that with the A7V? Sure. The sensor is a 7K sensor. Now, one thing that they did is, it's kind of unfortunate, right? I wish they would have thought through this. It has only one CFast Express Type A card, and the other one is an SD card, which means your weakest link is your SD card. In addition to that, the CFast Express Type A card can only go as fast as the SD card, especially if there is an SD card in the slot. So if you're going to shoot with CFast Express Type A, don't put something in the SD card so you can get the most speed out of it. That's what I would do. In addition to that, for you to get a 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte card for the Type A, you're going to pay through your nose. It's not like the Type B. And it's also much slower of a card than a Type B card because of the dual channel and all this stuff. We're not going to go into that. You can look it up and you can knock yourself out. Don't leave any comments because I don't need any comments on the Type A, Type B cards. I know what I'm talking about and it's correct. Okay, Type B is faster, period. Nothing to talk about. This has a Type B card. And they did the same thing here. They put a freaking SD card just like the R5 Mark II. So when I shoot with the Type B card, I don't have an SD card in there so I can get the most out of it. It ain't slowing my camera down. You know, I shoot RAW plus JPEG all onto this sucker. 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte cards, 4.0. It supports 4.0 for Type B. It's blazing fast on how much data it can move. And it can shoot RAW recording. So you can do RAW internal recording, open gate, this, that. It can do all of that. You don't even need an external recorder. But with the Sony A7V, you can't do any of that, especially if you want to do the RAW workflow. So the only thing Sony can hang on to now is something that they caught some slack for about 10 years ago, or actually when they came out with these. When you go into 20 frames per second, it actually goes to 12-bit instead of 14-bit. So does the A1 and other cameras that they have, which are much faster. Apparently, with this A7V, they can shoot 14-bit lossy RAW for about 2 seconds. And then it fills a buffer. That's kind of exciting. Okay, fine. If that's what floats your boat. I understand they're doing what they're doing because of the limitations of being able to move that kind of data. Totally understand all that. For $28.99, great deal. This camera, when it was new, was about $4,300, $4,400 for the A9 II with a fully stacked sensor. Now let's talk about that sleeper camera that's sitting, the bonus. If I were to buy an A7V today, which I am not going to be doing, because in my opinion, the R6 Mark III gives you just that much more bang for the buck. Lately I've been shooting a lot of 4K 120. So if I have to shoot a 4K 120, I really need that, right? To be able to do that and be able to shoot 12-bit RAW internal in the camera, all these different things that It's kind of cool. Then I don't have to carry an extra recorder like the one up here. With the Sony A7V, you're going to have to carry all this extra stuff to make things happen, and you still can't record RAW, so kind of sucks. So what is that sleeper camera? Right now, the Sony A7R V is $900 off. That camera right now is literally about $300 more than the A7V they just introduced today. I would buy that camera any day over the A7V for many reasons. Obviously, more resolution, this, that. Yes, it can only shoot 10 frames per second, but if you're a photo first buff, 10 frames for most people is enough, right? It has all of the latest autofocus, this, that, and the other. It has all of that in there, but it has something that's even better. It has 2 CFast Express Type A card slots in there. Not a, one of those combination jobbies, right? So you have that option in there. But for video, you can actually shoot RAW out of that HDMI and all kinds of different things that you can do. It's actually a much better hybrid camera than what they just made right now. So I'm really confused as to what Sony's really wanting to do, right? I mean, I know they want to sell a shitload of these cameras. And same thing with Canon. So there is one thing that they did really good, which I'm happy about, which I touched on a couple minutes ago. They did leave the mechanical shutter in the camera, which is great, because for event and wedding photographers, that is awesome. They can really benefit from it. I would really benefit from it when I shoot. When I shoot this for events and stuff, mechanical shutter. Bam, bam, bam. External lights, this, that, no problem, right? And that's just a beautiful thing. So that's one thing that's a missed opportunity on the Nikons. Some flash units work really great. Some of them don't work at all. Some of them work half-ass, right? So, and obviously Nikon's no longer even making their speed lights. So they're just gone into a whole different type of business. So where do we sit with this A7V? Is it a great offering? Yeah. If I was really sitting down and ready to buy a camera from Sony, and that's what I really wanted, or I'm already in the ecosystem, after seeing this camera, yeah, you got a resolution bump and all this stuff, right, compared to the Z6 III and all of that. 32, 33 megapixel, just like this. It's good. But dollar for dollar, in my opinion, that A7R V is a better deal. You have the same, that screen that goes up and down, like this screen here. I just like this screen because it just goes up and down. I don't need it to tilt out. It's good enough, and it's perfect for what I do. But the new one apparently slides this way and it articulates too. When I use this for video, I have to really stick a external recorder or something on top to let me know what I'm seeing. But that 4-way screen would be cool, right? But the new one has that, and so does the A7R V. Spend the extra $300, buy that. Much better camera, in my opinion. I truly believe if you really want to get a product that is next level with Sony, buy the R4, R5 type of cameras. And or A1, A2s. The build quality of these things, it's different. So you don't believe me, go out there and pick up an A7V and then go and pick up a R5. I think you'll see the difference. So my verdict is, if you've never owned a Sony camera and you want to do this and buy this as your first one, go for it. I think you'll be fine. But if you are really looking to build a longevity type of thing, yes, right now for what you're paying for the A7R V, it would be very foolish for you to pay $300 less and get this camera compared to what you can do. Unless you really, really have to have that 30 frames per second so bad with a partially stacked sensor. Yeah, the A7R V is not stacked, I get it. But shoot it with a mechanical shutter. The shutter is good for 500,000 actuations. It's more than what you and I are going to shoot in the next 5 years, maybe. I've got one 1D body that's over 500,000 actuations. So it takes a long time to actually break the shutter. I probably have close to, I would say 150 to 200,000 actuations on this A9 II on the mechanical shutter. Still going strong, no problems. So unless you got to have that extra speed, save your money, buy the better camera. That's my opinion. And you will get both of the card slots to be the same. And I think a lot of the other things are pretty interchangeable now with the Sony cameras, because they really haven't changed the body for the last 10 years or so. It's pretty similar, right? They make some tweaks here and there, but very similar. So you can do pretty well. Well, that's my take. It's a long one, but I think it's a conversation to be had. Leave your comments below if you're going to order. If you haven't already ordered it from Sony Alpha Rumors guy, he's probably actually doing cartwheels right now. If you haven't ordered it, please order it from his link so he can actually make some money, because that's all they do. It's just, you know, BS all day long about these cameras. First, they were supposed to do all these crazy things, and now they settled on the very little that it does. So it's a miss on Sony's part, in my opinion. You might disagree, but at the end of the day, I think for the money, the best bang for the buck right now, A7R V, Canon R5 Mark II, and then this guy here, which is the R6 Mark III, in my opinion, is a better buy than the Sony A7V that just got introduced today. You just get a lot more for your money right out of the box. The other one that I would highly, highly recommend is a Nikon Z8. The Z8 is actually, they have some incredible deals. So if you're on the Nikon system, go check it out. You know, that is a hell of a camera for what you're getting for the money. And with the discounts they have, it's a no-brainer. So this holiday season, make the right move that works for you. Go out there and do what you need to do. If you need to use the links that I have down below, do it. That's great. It helps the channel. But I'm not going to sit here and hold my breath on it, because I know many of you go to other channels and buy it anyway. But get your information here. I'm okay with that. That's perfectly cool. With that, like, subscribe, be nice to each other. Go out there, create your magic, and I will talk to you in the next one. Thank you.